We know success and fame can seem like the ultimate dream. However, for many in Hollywood and beyond, the spotlight can become a prison of expectations, addiction, and loss of identity. Today, I'm speaking with someone who lived through the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lowest in the entertainment industry and discovered what it truly means to find yourself. Welcome back to the U Potential Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Maslick. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel to support the show and get notified when the next episodes are released. Today, I'm joined by Thomas G. Waits, accomplished actor who shared the screens with legends like Al Pacino, Kurt Russell, starred in cult classics, The Warrior and The Thing, and experienced the intoxicating rush of fame and success only to watch it all slip away through battles with alcoholism and depression that cost him his career, family, and money. We're exploring in this episode the raw human journey from the glittering surfaces of Hollywood success to the darkness of addiction and ultimately to the light of self-authentic discovery. Thomas shares how losing everything became the catalyst for finding his true voice through art, music, and creative expression. Why acceptance of our mistakes is the first step towards genuine transformation, and how the most profound success in life isn't measured by fame or money, but living a life you're truly proud of. This conversation is deeply honest about falling from grace, fighting for redemption, and discovering that your authentic self, with all its flaws and beauty, is the greatest role you'll ever play in your life. Let's dive in. Thomas G. Waits, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I am very grateful you're joining me today. You were just sharing that life may be a little busy right now as you're hopping out of the ice cold shower to join us. Despite wake up. Hey,
it's noon.
I've read though that you've been doing ice baths for a number of years now. 2016, I think I read.
I think 2017 was when
2017.
I started.
Okay.
Because of Wim Hof. You know who Wim Hof is?
I do.
Yeah. So I read his book. I saw some videos online, and at the time I'd had both terrible, crippling physical arthritis in my feet because I used to be a black belt in karate, and I'd broken both my big toes and never got them fixed. So, I mean, mate, I was when it would rain. And I also was diagnosed with clinical depression. And once I started doing Wim Hof in 2017, I haven't taken a pill in more than a Motrin in, 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. The cold cures everything. It's just people are afraid of it. And he explains this in great detail. He's a wonderful teacher of Wim Hof. And I think I spent $17 on his book, maybe. The rest of it's free. It doesn't even cost, and that's 8 years, $17. I mean, that's not even 2 cents a day, But he is on a mission to teach people that the cold is the cure for both stimulating your immune system, purifying your blood, and most importantly, changing your mental processes. It rewires the neural pathways in your brain.
I would like to get into your story, and what a story there with Bruce. And it seems like so much of his music is about that redemption. And I feel like that's, why it resonates with so many people. And, this for yourself, you telling your story through Lucky Man and this individual reaching out to you saying how much impact it has. There's something about hearing real stories of redemption that just speaks to our human brothers and sisters that,
Yeah,
Because we,
because we all get lost.
yeah.
We all get frightened. We all get damaged and broken. Nobody, comes out of this life alive, as they say. And
Hmm.
many times people die 100,000 deaths before they actually die. They lose a loved one. They get some dreadful disease. They fail in a particular career. We all have to face these tragedies, um, that are ostensibly insurmountable.
Yeah, yeah, there's this greater good and finding something bigger than yourself. You often hear about people who have this meaning in life or this really large purpose, and it tends to be exactly what you're saying is something bigger than themselves. It could be standing up like Bruce did, could be caring for your child, just something outside of ourselves.
And
And
kindness.
and kindness, compassion is ingredients to in how you stand up. And Bruce, he does a way that is you can still stand up to something in a kind way. In fact,
Yes.
it's more effective.
Yes.
So, Thomas, I want to talk. You're talking about influence here, where we talk about Bruce Springsteen. You've acted, performed in many fascinating endeavors in your career, from cult classics, The Warriors, The Thing. You've worked with Al Pacino, Kurt Russell. You studied at the Juilliard with Robin Williams, Christopher Reeve. You're currently running one of the top rated acting studios that you've touched on. You have your one-man show right now, Lucky Man. What have you learned from the greats and how they approach their mission, their craft, or their purpose?
Well, I'll tell you one great that I've learned from is Kurt Russell. Kurt's a big, big movie star, right? I mean, he's so big that, he probably stopped needing to work 20 years ago. But why he's interesting is he seems to have an attitude, a mentality, or a mindset that even if things are not working out, he keeps himself centered with this. I'm going to claim it as a perception that it's going to work out his way, that it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw him get angry, though I'm sure he must get angry. Everyone does. He just is smooth. I mean, he learned how to deal with this industry when he was very young, and he's just a really fun guy. But when confronted with difficulty, he just seems to have this mindset of, it's going to work out. It's just going to work out. It's going to be okay.
Kind of reminds me of what we're talking about at the beginning, like being present.
Yes.
Or being present in life, you said. And, if you're present and not letting all the stories inside of your head come to surface, I felt like, you're doomed. It's over.
Yeah, we
enough.
all have that inner critic, that inner traitor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called ego.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it the devil. It doesn't matter what you call it.
Yeah.
It's there and everyone's got it.
Yeah.
It can make you sick and it can destroy you, and its purpose is to take you down. Now, why it's there, I don't know. That's
to humble us.
Somebody with a much higher pay grade than me.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's there and we have to confront it is what makes life beautiful and worth treasuring. Life is a gift. That's the fundamental premise.
It certainly
but with
is.
this gift comes, a price that you have to learn various and sundry lessons. And these lessons are, though painful, to character building and your soul's completion on this journey.
Your soul's completion. I like that phrasing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I the reason why my play is called Lucky Man is like I'm just like about the luckiest guy in the world. You know, I don't know how I got so lucky. I do believe in karma. You know, for example, Sunday I had a matinee at 3:00, and it's very difficult to do matinees because you have a show late on Saturday night. You know, you go out with friends. Not that I drink or anything. I don't drink at all. But I want to be with my friends that came all the way to see me. And so I'm up late. I'm wired because I've been performing. So, like, I compare it to like coming down from a cross. You know, you're like being unstrung from this. And anyway, matinees are tough. And I'm so tired that on the subway Sunday, I miss my stop. And I have to go all the way to Canal Street. And that means I have to cross over and take another subway train back uptown to the other side. And I see this Asian woman that has a baby and a gigantic carriage. And there are only steps in the subways. There's very few elevators. And she has a series of long and rather difficult steps to get to because it's anyway, without explaining too much. And I was in a hurry. I had my guitar on my back. I'm 70 years old, as I mentioned. I'm late, which I don't like to be late. And I went, look, help this lady out, man. Just stop your, life for a minute. Look at her. She's got an infant and a gigantic carriage. She probably weighed 90 pounds, the poor thing. So, I folded up the carriage with the guitar on my back, and we traversed several sets of very steep, steel stairs to get her to where she was going. And, of course, she kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. She had no idea that I was late as hell. And I was really like, oh, yeah. But I forgot about that for a second. And I saw someone less fortunate than I. I try to go to bed every night and go, did you help anyone out that's less fortunate than you, Tom? I mean, did you, or was it just all about you today? And interestingly enough, Sunday I had my best show ever. A packed house, like
nice
standing ovation. It's like it's very interesting.
If we all operated with that lens, like we all can make an excuse. I'm late. I've got this. I can't do this. But yet, I bet you this lady, even if she's not, but I bet you she's sharing this story with somebody about this. I bet you she didn't even think you were 70. This kind gentleman. But the world becomes a better place.
The point is, Sean, I think that all of us need to commit ourselves to become meliorists. That is, even if nobody hears your song, sit down and write it anyway, sing it anyway. Even if people tell you can't sing it anyway. You can't draw it anyway. Write your story. You can't write it and do it anyway. Everybody's first draft sucks.
Everybody's.
Do it. Do a creative act. That involves kindness to yourself because you're expressing something within that's essential for you to get out, because the problem with society is esteem, self-esteem. That's what causes war and famine and hunger and disease. We don't love ourselves enough to love one another. That's the key problem.
At 70 years old, having standing ovation on Sunday, what what is it that continues to have you express yourself, whether it's through your acting school, whether it's through the play, whether it's through the music? Why do you
Pain.
keep pain?
And my most recent songs, the last 3 songs I've written, I'm a songwriter, singer, musician, and I want to put a plug in for my band,
Yeah.
Heartbreak Waits. Okay, Heartbreak, and the last
Yeah.
name Waites. Heartbreak Waits on Instagram. Please follow us because we have an album coming out called Ascending Heights in the fall. That'll be on Edgewater Records is releasing it. It's a subsidiary of Orchard, which is a subsidiary of Sony. And I really am into my music. And you ask me what drives me, what motivates me, is pain. When it hurts, do something about it. Do something with it.
Mhm.
Don't just let it sit there and eat you alive.
Yeah, pain. I mean, it can be a feeling that debilitates us. It could be a motivation, like you're saying right now. And at times it could be a motivation to inflict more pain. And I want to go back from just reading about Lucky Man and your story, probably some painful times, but you decided to perhaps be present and use that pain as motivation to reinvent yourself. And you had this quite early success with the Warriors,
Yes.
the Things, I think in your early 20s.
Oh my God. By the time I was 23, I signed a 3-picture deal with Paramount.
Right. I'm curious, at this 23-year-old, what is going through the internal mind, and then maybe just bridge when your relationship with alcohol starts and how you reconciled with that pain to get to where we are today.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question. I'm sorry, but it's it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I came from a very poor Irish Catholic family. I discovered Shakespeare almost by accident through Franco Zeffirelli's movie Romeo and Juliet. And it opened me up and made me feel and weep, and it moved me to the point where I went to the library and memorized both characters' lines in the entire balcony scene, which I can do to this day. And that got me into Juilliard, a full scholarship, and I had the greatest teachers in the world. Of course, I had problems as a young man with authority, and I also had problems with drink and drugs, but mostly drink. The drugs I just am too sensitive for. They made me more sick than high. But I came out of acting school with not a friend in the world because I got kicked out of there. And one person believed in me enough. If you can get one person to believe in you, then you can get 2 people to believe in you. And you can get 2 people to believe in you, you can get 3. If you can get 3, you can get 300 million. And so, I was skilled. I had learned discipline. And I knew that if somebody just gave me this much of a shot, I would kill it. Just get me in the room, mate. You get me in the room, I'll take care of the rest. I knew that in my soul. And so I got all this success. I came out of acting school. I almost got my equity card right away. I think the first or second play I auditioned for, I got my equity card, which was a big thing back then. And then I returned to the city, and through a friend of mine from Juilliard and my pertinacious pursuit of that agent, I got an agent. A week after I got an agent, I got offered 2 movies the same day. I exploded at a very early age. Now, I was not on 2 levels prepared for it. On the level of a mature adult that understands what money is, for example, and what to do with it. I had no idea. I just, like gave it away and drank it up. I mean, I thought it would just keep coming in forever, And then on a deeply insecure premise, I didn't really feel I was worthy of such attention and success. So I wanted to become a better actor. I wanted to become a musician. I wasn't at the time. And then I wanted to become smarter. And so I learned the hard way. I learned everything the hard way. I was at the top of the heap. I got cut down quickly through my own bad behaviors, getting fired from the Warriors, and being difficult on the set. Not difficult like, unmanageably difficult, just difficult enough to be disruptive. And
Thomas, I just a question. Do you think that had something to do with that not worthy of success?
Yes.
Like you're doing it and now you're self-sabotaging in a way.
Right. I don't deserve this. Mm-hmm. Well, see, alcoholics, we flip between I'm the greatest or I'm a piece of garbage. I'm not worth it. It's called right sizing. We get right sized when we get sober. And we either think we're the most brilliant, talented person in the world, or we're just not even worthy to get out of bed. We're so bad at. That's a real indicator that you have a problem with alcohol or drugs. It makes you crazy and impossible to deal with at times, and then at other times, just so self-debasing that you don't even feel like you deserve to be alive. And this is a mental illness. I mean, people may call it bipolar. I don't know. But it's certainly an emblematic of addiction. And so I was a tough case because I wasn't what you call a first level alcoholic. What that means is the first time you drink, you get completely drunk and then you just keep drinking and drinking. Like I was able to control it for a long time. And so I couldn't. And when I realized I couldn't was when I basically destroyed my family. I don't mean destroyed physically. I mean emotionally. My wife left and took the children, rightly so. And it took me until I was 49 years old to get sober. So it's never too late, A. And B, though difficult, quitting drinking was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Again, it's those obstacles. It's like I didn't think I could live without getting through a day. Like I couldn't. 4 o'clock came, I had to start. Because I was emotionally dependent upon a substance for my esteem. And then once you strip that away, you find out who you are, beneath that murky sea of self-pity. And the entire time, though, I am a well-trained actor. So I did work. I did a lot of episodic TV, and I did TV commercials, and I did anything I could to survive and support my family. But compared to the career that I had started, if you were a betting man, you would never have bet that my trajectory would have fallen like a falling star in the sky. And a lot of people crash from that fall. And I almost did as well. But instead, I had the great good fortune, I'm a lucky man, of rescuing myself with the power of what I consider to be the cosmic birther of the universe, a woman, that higher power saved me in conjunction with my own willpower. You have to have the will to live. There are the three main questions. Are you alcoholic? Yes. Do you see other people around you in AA getting better as a result of not drinking? Yes. Now, final question, most important. Do you want to live? If you don't want to live, that's your prerogative. I mean, you're going to hurt a lot of people around you, but there's no, judgment. If that's your choice, if you want to choose not to live, go ahead. I mean, you're going to hurt a lot of people as a result of that choice. And fortunately, I chose life. And the end of my play is a song that the chorus is, I want to live, I want to live, I want to live to give, I want to live. And I get the whole, I want to live. It's really cool. I mean, I hope someone listening has a theater up in Canada and will bring it, my
That
play
would be,
up there. It'd be great.
yeah. I very much appreciate you sharing this story. And as you're talking, I can't help but think about this, like in the pits of it, in the pain of the relationship, the hard relationship you had with alcohol. There needs to be this paradox of like surrender and admitting powerlessness in order to gain control.
Yep.
Which is, like I said, it's a paradox, but yet here you are, you're living now and you're giving it.
Well, surrender, the definition of it is not giving up. Surrender is going over to the winning side. That's the definition of surrender. So anybody that has an ego problem with like, I don't give up anything, I don't surrender to anybody, that male machismo thing. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means going over to the winning side. And, I got my children back. I have the greatest Father's Days and birthdays of any man on planet Earth. I have 2 beautiful children that love me and respect me. And I have an ex-wife that I'm crazy about. And a lot of great friends and a lot of support and hard-earned, but don't be afraid. There's so much support out there. Call me. If you have a problem with addiction, I'm so easy to find. I mean, it's ridiculous. I have a stack of fan letters here. I mean, it's embarrassing. I haven't had time to get to any of them. But, they basically want me to just sign a picture. I'm clearly, Thomas G. Waits, TGW Acting Studio, Heartbreak Waits, which is where I really want people to go on Instagram. Send me a message and say, look, I need help. I need someone to talk to. I'm an addict and I can't stop drinking. I can't stop using. I'll talk to you. I mean, I can't make it any easier for anyone. I wish I could, but it's not an easy. Addicts are, and there are many of us, are a particular type of personality. Usually very smart people, hard workers, but they've allowed that voice, the one we talked about, the egoic voice, to dominate their personality. And I don't think it's our own fault. I believe it's genetic. We're just predisposed to self-loathing is what it finally comes down to.
You used an interesting word. You said that addicts and others actually allowing this ego voice, this inner critic to dominate. You didn't say that, like you weren't alluding to now you don't have that voice, which I think is refreshing because we still all have this voice. How do you dance with your ego right now when it shows up?
It's funny. I am a great admirer of humility. And one of the themes of my play is humility. Humility, the actual meaning of the word comes from the Latin humble means to be close to the earth. I respect humility, and I cleave the virtue of humility to my breast as, oh, yeah, look, it's great to get attention, have people, like, I'll tell you about a great experience that happened to me. I was in Maryland a couple of weeks ago. My brother's daughter got married, and for one reason and another, I had to be dropped off at a Starbucks for 2 hours whilst my sisters got dressed, right? Women in weddings dressed. It's a whole thing. So I had my guitar, and I was out in front of a Goodwill store. You know what that is? That's where you...
Oh, yeah. Secondhand store.
And there I am, sweltering heat with my guitar, and I stand in the parking lot and I start playing all my political songs and my other songs too. And a woman sat in her car with her window rolled down and listened to me play for almost an hour. I'll never shut the fuck up. And she pulls up and she hands me a $5 bill and goes, "You're just fantastic. Thank you." Then these two like really attractive young girls come up and they're like, "Are you here every Sunday?" And I think I made $10. I'm fortunate enough that I have a voice and I can play well enough and I can sing well enough to make people listen. And I'm so grateful for it.
You talked about giving earlier, and it seems like your play, Lucky Man, is set in that theme of giving back. Here we are hearing your authentic story, the triumphs. You talk about addiction, your lost career, broken relationships, being fired from the Warriors. And yet you have this wonderful, I mean, you've been telling stories for how many decades now, ability to package this universal human experience that we all navigate into your story. But as I was reading about the play, I can't help but think everyone in the audience is just, reflecting on their own story. What does it mean? Like, what significance, meaning does it bring to you on Sunday afternoon when you're like, I freaking did it. I made this play. Like you said, this play didn't exist a year ago. Here I am having this beautiful human connection with people. I didn't give up. I've created this thing that humans love. What's that like?
It's the most beautiful feeling in the world. More than money, more than awards, more than, anything, because I took a terrible experience that happened to me last year around this time where I was hurt very deeply by a group of people that I put my trust in, and they betrayed me. And I'm so sensitive. I was paralyzed by this pain. And I'm like, look, do something with it. Don't just sit here and wallow in your misery. If you're hurting that badly, sit down and do something with it. And so first I wrote a song called Heartbreak Waits, W-A-I-T-E-S. Basically the message of it is heartbreak waits for everyone, the old and the young. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to turn this into a one-man play. And, I started it then, and it's taken many, many drafts. And I also have had the great good fortune of a brilliant director named Joe Denisi, who directed the play. I have my band, Heartbreak Waits, which is consists of Tony Daniels as the guitarist, Cedric Allen Hills, keyboard and vocals, Annie McGovern as a vocalist. And those three people are just so special and so wonderful and so patient with me. And they make me sound a lot better than I really am. It's true. Their harmonies are, it's very 60s harmonies, really cool. Like, 13ths and it's really
Nice.
cool harmony. And, you know, to be able to give them employment, create employment for them is just, I love making jobs for other people. And the feeling, I guess I would describe it as holy.
Holy.
I feel holy. I feel close to my creator. I feel like I'm doing what I'm here to do.
Hmm. An interesting word, holy. I hear it as like holy from the creator. But when I hear your story, it also feels like you're coming like whole, WHOLE as
Right,
well.
right.
A whole circle of life here.
Right. Yeah, you sort of piece yourself back together.
Mhm.
You know, I've had a lot of friends of mine, John Goodman, who put up some of the money for this play. Kelsey Grammer is a pal of mine. A lot of Pacino and I were very close when we worked together. A lot of people I know have become enormously, way more successful than me. And it's great. I'm so glad for them. They're incredibly talented. They deserve it. But I think my mission is more to help other people than to just be an entertainer, which I am.
Mhm.
I'm very entertaining, and I'm particularly good at telling stories. You know, it's a gift, the gift of gab, I think. But, you know, I've been blessed with the chance to help. I'll put it in a very simple and concise phrase: to give hope to the hopeless, faith to the faithless, and love to the unloved.
Oh, it's beautiful. Uh, I can't help but sit here and think about whether it's musicians, whether it's actors in Hollywood. There seems to be, yeah, this idea that you become a successful musician or actor and the money just flows in. And I've heard people talk about how that cycle of pain, it maybe has been driven through the drive for more money. In your case, there was alcohol. What keeps you? It seems to me is your purpose, your mission, your meaningful life is what you just described here, is to give, to help others, to give hope, faith, and love. How have you been, and this is my observation, I could be wrong, been able to take money for what it is, just paper, and not become so obsessed where you lose sight of giving to others, giving hope, giving faith, giving love?
Well, I mean, first of all, look, I love money like everyone
Hmm.
else. You know, I love having money, especially to be able to help other people out.
Right.
That's like my favorite thing to be able to do. There's several charities I like to contribute to when I can. I struggle, man. Um, I do okay, but uh, I need to keep working because of my choices from the past. And I don't mind at all. I'm a workhorse. I don't mind it at all. I mean, money is a beautiful thing too, especially when you can use it to help others. See, I never was a materialist. So there's really nothing. I mean, I got a one-bedroom apartment and my guitar, which I was just trying to tune. But that's it. I don't really need anything. I'd like to be able to visit my children more, and we have a grandchild now. Um, I'd love to tour Canada, the United States with my play and my band. That would be a dream come true. Um, so how do I square it with, you know, because I know people that everything is just money, money, money,
Hmm.
money, money, money. That's all they think about. Money has become God. Money is not God.
Hmm.
Money is a false idol.
Hmm.
And if you dedicate yourself just to making money, without it benefiting anyone else, you're going to be one lonely, sad, soul on your deathbed. Because
Hmm.
you're not going to be laying there going, geez, I wish I made another 100,000 on that deal. You're going to be like, did I love?
Hmm. Who's beside me on my deathbed? There's nobody but my
Does
bank
anyone
statement.
even give a fuck if I die?
Hmm. I appreciate how yeah, money is like to allows us to do things like meet our kids, see the world, parts of the world. What I'm really hearing from this is that money makes life easier. It allows us to do wonderful things, perhaps tours, see our kids, but you're whole as it is now. You don't need this large amount of money to feel Thomas G. Waits is enough, is whole.
No, no. I mean, I'd love to buy my ex-wife a house,
Yeah.
which like really far away in terms of actual achievable goals at this moment, but it's not unachievable and it's
Hmm.
not impossible. And I have the talent that I think is capable of earning that kind of money. But that's if I ever got, $1 million or $2 million, the first thing I would do would be like, find a house where you want to live because she loves the country, and that's what I would do with it, mate, is give it, buy her house. She raised our children with an alcoholic father, that, and I never beat anybody up or, uh, I never got arrested. I wasn't that kind of a drunk. I just got
Hmm.
drunk and fell asleep. But I hurt emotionally. I was absent. I was an
Right.
absentee father, and I wasn't there for my children at very important times in their lives. And that remorse is healthy. I
Right.
want you to understand, and I want the listeners to understand that.
Hmm.
I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm not looking back with regret, but with a healthy remorse, an acknowledgement that I did cause those people harm. I did it. Nobody else did it. I did it. I chose to drink instead of be with my family. I chose to drink instead of my cherished career. I chose to drink over everything else, and I paid for it, and I'm still paying for it.
Hmm.
But the great thing is, you get to make living amends while you're still alive. You can repair that damage. And one of the ways you can repair is by giving back and trying to be useful to other people, helpful to other people. And I've also got, enough talent that, I'm not asking for anyone to give me anything. I want to earn it. Just put me in front of 2,500 people, and I guarantee you
Hmm.
they will love this play, Lucky Man. They will be knocked off it sends you to another, the raw honesty of it is it's almost too much for people. People gasp. You can hear them in the audience go, "Oh, no!" Or they laugh like crazy too. The first 45 minutes, there's a lot of laughs, me making fun of myself. But then it really sucker punches the audience with the ending. And it's all interwoven with these beautiful songs. It's a
Hmm.
very commercial piece. And yeah, would I like to make millions of dollars from it? I sure would. And the first thing I would do,
Yeah. Buy
I
that house.
I'm happy in my apartment. I don't need a house, really.
Yeah.
I'm happy right here. It's just all my piano's right over there, my guitar's here. My books are all over. I'm good. Uh, and I love New York City. But to try to pay her back, she did all the women mostly do all the hard work, man. They're the ones that do the changing and the schooling and the homework and the kids and and they don't get any credit. Single mothers especially. We should have a special fund in the United States and Canada and everywhere else in the world where single mothers that are struggling can go to this fund and get necessary resources to survive. Instead of these billionaires flying into outer space, why don't they help other people? Why don't they try to, do something meaningful? And how many single mothers and they want to pass a bill in my country where they're cutting back on their benefits? I mean, this is just completely antithetical to the growth of the human soul. And we've got to change. And I believe we are changing. I believe that the age of Aquarius is upon us, though it's taking a long time to get here. And that the wheels of karma, while slow, are in motion. And if you go around kicking people in the balls, eventually someone's going to kick back. And if you go around trying to make the world a better place, you're going to be a better person for it.
You're making me think just how much you're living this helping others as a mission. And earlier you talked about you let one person give me a chance. It goes to 2, 3, and it multiplies. I've also often heard people say, if one person believes in me, it gives me permission to believe myself. And it sounds to me, people coming to your play, they're hearing this raw, authentic story, which I've already touched on, allows us to think about ourselves. It seems to me it's almost giving them permission to see themselves that, oh, my story's been shitty too. Like, I also have pain. I'm not on this isolated island feeling pain. And I can imagine you're giving people permission to be themselves, to do the things you're advocating for, create, stand up for what you believe in. And that's
to
wonderful.
Admit their flaws. You know, there's a line in my play where I look at the audience and I say, why do I kill the things I love?
Jeez.
And some guy came up to me and he grabbed onto me and he said, man, I've been asking myself that since the day I was born. Why do I kill the things I love?
It's powerful.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to exclude my brilliant director, Joe Denisi, because he shaped and I wrote it, but every good writer of the theater anyway knows that a great director, like one of my favorite directors is a Canadian director by the name of Des McAnuff, that I've been dying to work for my entire life. I got to audition for him when I was a young kid, and he didn't cast me, but I remember him saying to me, I'm not going to cast you in this, but you're going to go far in this business. He was very encouraging, and I don't know what he's doing now. I know he was running Stratford for a while, but I don't know if he is, which is your Stratford, the Shakespeare. It's the best theater in the world. It's the best. I mean, I've been to England. I've seen everything in England you can imagine seeing, from Shakespeare to, Pinter to, and they're good. And we do some good stuff here. But you guys, that Stratford Shakespeare Festival, man, that's the top of the line as far as I'm concerned. Brilliant.
In a world that we're so distracted, we talked about earlier, what a better way to come back to being present in life, a word you talked about at the beginning, than going to plays, going to theater, going to live music, interacting with like this human experience that is unique to humans, is creating together this collective effervescence, which is
being
beautiful.
A meliorist. Being a meliorist, being someone that's contributing to the betterment of society. This very conversation, maybe it'll reach 2 people, 200 people, 200, who knows? But just if no one hears it, just you and I discussing it already improves the frequency and the vibration that we're on. And so therefore it can't help but rub off on others,
I know your time. You're a busy guy in the middle of the plays.
I have so much to do. My one day off.
You're very, very gracious with your time. You can answer this as quickly as you can. We're asking everyone this question.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, let's imagine now that you're at end of life. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're at end of life. You're sitting on a front porch looking out at a view that gives you complete peace, ease, and contentment. You decide to write one last song, one last play, one last message, whatever it is. But you're writing it to your kids' on what you learned was a key to live a meaningful life. What would be the message?
Love others into being, and you will be loved.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for all the work you're doing. Please let listeners know more information. Well, I will include all the links that you talked about already about your band. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just, follow Heartbreak Waits on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out because we have a few of our recorded songs up there, a few of me just playing my guitar and singing, and our album will be coming out. And if anybody out there has a connection with a theater, a university, this would be so good at universities. The kids would love it. Young people just love it because they watch me when I was a young man and the mistakes I made. And one kid came up to me and he said, this is like guiding me for my future. In the play I say, I'm going to write a book, What Not to Do by Thomas G. It'll be a bestseller.
Yeah.
It's been great talking to you, Sean.
You too. Thank you so much. And I got to say one last thing. It's earlier you said at the very start, you're not a doctor, but it seems to me you're a doctor at living a good life. So this has been enjoyable, and good luck with the play. And thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your time, lad.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. If you enjoyed the chat, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.